Whether you are an administrator, a designer, or a simple user, you can access to the Interactions tab that is available in the Graphs, Documents, Resources, Roles, and Users pages. From the consultation of an element, this tab provides the list of the existing links to other elements of your Pix4 database. It allows you to intuitively navigate to understand the connections between different Pix4 objects and the possible impacts in case of modification of an element. From a graph, you can access to other graphs that are linked, to roles that are included, to documents and resources that have been linked to this graph. However, don't forget that graphs and documents don't follow the same workflow. You won't necessarily access to these elements linked to a graph, even if you are allowed to consult it. It all depends on your profile type, administrator, designer, or user, on your visualization rights of a graph or document, and on their status. From the properties of a document, you can see the graphs that contain it. From a resource, you also see the graphs that contain it. From a role, you can consult the users that have been assigned to this role, and you can access to the graphs that contain it. From the page of a user, you can access to the roles that have been assigned to this user and to the graphs that include these roles. Let's take the example of this level 2 graph that is applicable and public. Parent graphs have an ascending hierarchy link with the current graph. In other words, they are a superior or equal level. For instance, if this level 2 graph was linked to a level 1 graph, then the link of this level 1 graph would have appeared as a parent graph. In this example, there is just no ascending hierarchy that exists. Child graphs have a descending hierarchy link with the current graph. In other words, they are an inferior or equal level. We can read that in our example, there is a link to a child graph named Analyze the Training Request. Inputs are entry information for a graph that are modeled in Pix4 with the graphical elements start and upstream action. In our example, the graph Conduct Annual Reviews is one input of the level 2 graph we are consulting. Outputs are exit information for a graph that are modeled in Pix4 with the graphical elements end and downstream action. In our example, the graph Plan a Training is one output. Finally, roles, documents, and resources listed are the one linked to the current graph. All these elements are searchable within the limit of your rights.